Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 5 of the Big Picture Film Club podcast. Today we have a special cast and crew from the independent comedy Guardians. So we're joined by writer-director Mark A.C Brown.
Yep.
Editor Fred Fournier.
And
producer, sorry. Chris Spyrides.
Oh,
Thank you. I worked all day on that. Who plays the character Spruce in the film, and lead actor Matt Prendergast.
You let yourself down there, Presh.
Oh,
You did so well. 3 out of 4. But carry on.
Who plays lead actor Carlson. So the film Guardians, I've watched it 3 or 4 times now, actually.
Wow.
And
It's more than us.
yeah,
You must like your bomb.
it's hilarious. It's very dark humoured, which I personally like. So like, just to kind of get the ball rolling, how did the film come about, and what can people expect to see or feel?
Matt's bomb. The film came about because I am predominantly a screenwriter, and I'd written quite a lot of scripts that had got, down the line to some point, and then
A specific point
specific point,
without
and just
being made.
and it just they generally just fall apart, and it was getting quite irritating, and when then the various things that had been made or were not satisfying to me, and then me and Fred, we made a film called Corinthian that did pretty well. Short film, it did pretty well in festivals, and it was satisfying. I was very happy with it, and I felt that I can just do this times 10. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
And so I gave Whitney a call. David Whitney, who's the other lead actor, who's not here. Don't know why. Why is he not
He's
here?
working.
He's working. And said, "Do you want to make a film?" Because he's the type of person you ring up, and if he says yes, he kind of bulldozes his way into making stuff happen, really. And he was up for it, and so I kind of just wrote this script for everyone that I knew, and around all the things that I knew that I had that I could get for free.
Yeah.
And did that, and I don't know, took a few months, and then Fred came on as producer, and then we just did it. Really, got everyone together, said, "Are you up for it? There's no money, there's nothing. We'll do it in this amount of time for nothing." Everyone was game.
Like, we used a lot of the favors we gave to people. Well, I personally, and so I was just like, well, it's payback time now. So
Yeah, we've done a lot of. We'd all of us, actors, editors, writers, whatever. We'd all done lots of stuff for free for people.
Yeah.
And so it was just we just called in some favors, and a lot of people just wanted to make a feature film. They were just kind of in the same position as us, of like just not being able to climb that wall, and so they were like, yeah, let's do it. Very talented human beings who just hadn't had the breaks or whatever, just the industry, and we just did it.
I think we'd all reached a point where quite a few of us have been doing it a long time, so we're ready to move forward like that. But also we'd made enough connections where we knew enough cast and crew to fill all the little parts that we needed filling. Well, some of them not little, some of them major roles that needed filling as well, to make it all happen, because it is a big job to get it all finished.
Yeah.
So the plot kind of revolves around Matt, your character, moving into a property, and you're there with as a living guardian.
Yeah.
And have any of you had particularly horrific or bad housing experiences?
This is London. Everyone has. Come on.
Going through one right
What?
now.
How do you listen get in touch? If you're listening, tweet or jump on the Facebook page with some horrible flatmate experiences. Chris had one recently. I'm not sure.
Care to share?
Yeah, I'd love to. He's still there right now. So if anybody's got a spare room and they're looking for a complete idiot to move in, you can get in contact via Fresh. Find me here and get my idiot flatmate out of my house. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things of particularly when you're in Carlson's situation of being utterly alone.
Yeah.
And moving into a big house in the middle of a place you're probably unfamiliar with. It's the London experience, usually for first time. you know, people who move into London, and it's just a very lonely and kind of really, London can be the most lonely place in the world because it's so massive, and so I thought yeah, it was something everyone could relate to who's ever been in London, really.
But it can be. I lived alone above a pub many years ago, and I got a bit depressed. I used to fall asleep with the people from Big Brother sleeping on the night camera at the same time. I left the telly on. So like I felt like I was sharing sleeps with them, and I think I got a bit down. And then shortly after that, I thought, you know, I'll be a property guardian. I'll save a load of money. I'll live in an interesting building. And I got quite hopeful about it. I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be useful to society in London. And then life got much better. I found I got into a relationship and I started living like a normal person, so to speak. And that then I switched to. Then I thought I won't be a property guardian. I'll live on a boat. I'll live on a houseboat. We'll go and live on a boat. And then I was told we couldn't live on a boat.
Yeah, if you're not from London, I think London can seem really hard and cold and immediate, and like if you've got no time as well, you know. And
I think it's probably because it is hard, cold.
London's going to kill us all.
It can be quite unforgiving.
It's because there's always something going on, and if you're not part of it, you feel sad.
Yeah.
Oh, there is that as well. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I'm brought up like round here. I'm from Leytonstone essentially, so it's quite different for me. But majority of people. I work with the majority of actors, majority of directors and writers, and people that work in the industry aren't from London. They've all flooded in here, and they have to just grab the bull by the horns and deal with this crazy city.
Yeah, I mean, my first 2 years in London, it was actually before I met you, I guess, and I loved it. I loved wandering around London and seeing all the bits of it. That was, because I was very lucky just to accidentally live in Highgate for very cheap rent, and it was wonderful. But then all of a sudden I realised I'm a person who likes to go to the pub and I like to go and see people and stuff. And when that was taken away from me, because I didn't know anybody, I would sit there just like gibbering in the corner going, I need to get out, I need to go and do something, and you've got no one to do it. You just feel like the loneliest, saddest little person in the whole world. And so I really, tapped into that.
So kind of moving on slightly, in terms of like writing for comedy, how does that process work in terms of, is there a lot of ad-libbing on the day, or do you find that, some stuff that you might write doesn't quite work well when you're filming? Or
I think with this particular project, it was all fairly easy because we've all worked together for at least a decade.
Yeah.
Me and Matt for 15 years, these two 10 years plus, and in all different kinds of things, theatre and sketch and audio, and me and Fred edit lots of stuff together, and he does all the twiddly bits. And
I know how to read.
The lights have gone out. So I don't know. I suppose what we've done predominantly over those years is comedy, anyway.
Yeah.
And I think the people I like to work with, the people I feel a chemistry with, the people that I feel like I want them to say my words.
Yeah.
And it's because I know they can say them well. And so there is an ad lib situation, definitely, but that's only because I think that's why I hire them, to say my words better than I've written them.
Normally happens more like in read-throughs and rehearsals, we'll
definitely didn't really happen.
Just by speaking the words, we'll go, Mark, when that's the time really to suggest, to go, look, this doesn't sound natural, or whatever. And I think we'll play around with stuff, even rehearsing just before filming.
You can't say
that. But once the cameras are rolling, I think we're pretty locked down. You can't fly too far away because
especially on Guardians, because we were so limited by time.
Charging through 10, 12 pages a day.
And the amount of people as well to choreograph all of these people in such a tight space. If one of you is like flying off in a completely different direction, it might, things can spiral out of control pretty easily, I think.
Okay. So Fred, this is slightly more directed to you then. In that process of once you've captured what you have on film, how do you make sure that, you've got the best take, or you can kind of accentuate the humour that's already there?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, most of the best take were off cameras. which was very annoying. But well, there's always ways around that. As long as the sound is recorded, you can always play with people's reactions and put the audio over it and etc. But mainly it's I don't know. It's just go with it. When I think something is funny, I just want it there, and just play with it.
Yeah, I mean it's on this particular type of film where we had no time, and so we didn't have the biggest amount of footage that we could have had. You know,
we were using 2 cameras.
We used 2 cameras. We did have decent amount, but you don't have as much to play with as the big boys, and so you've really just got to sew it all together the best you can and try and make it as funny as possible. And for me, a lot of it's about rhythms and timings and stuff. And again, that most of it's done by these peeps. No. it is. It's all because that's the reason why I want to work with them, is because they say my words right. But there's certain bits where we need to tweak a lot of things because we're sticking 2 takes together that aren't the same take, and because
that's where the superlative genius of the editor shines through.
Absolutely.
Chris also edits his own stuff as well.
It's what I'm saying is it's a lot of times it's my fault because I wrote a lot of dialogue for this film because we didn't have any money to do anything special effects here. We didn't have a lot of money to go outside of the location that we had. That it was a lot of talking, and sometimes a lot of stuff that I thought would sound amazing, in my head. Yeah. It was just like, oh, that's about 3 lines too long, and then so it's about cutting stuff out and speeding it up and getting the beats right, and that's where Fred would come in all the time and go, why don't we try it this way? And I'm like, no, it's my brilliant line. And I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Like, oh, it's in a bin, sorry.
But when you say a lot of it's your fault, you wrote, co-produced and directed this, so it's pretty much all your fault.
I thought you were going to be nice there, but no.
Yeah.
So where has the film played, like, in terms of festivals, and who's been fortunate enough to...
We had a good start, and because we finished the film on August the 30th, and we were screening it in a festival in America on September the 6th. So we had the cast and crew screening, was it August 30th?
I don't know.
Oh, you weren't there. You were.
That wasn't the final version of it, though.
It wasn't the final version. No. So the festival, because we had to get it done for this festival.
Quick show them before we broadcast it to the world.
Shut up. The work in progress version was accepted into this festival, and so we had to get a very good, almost finished version done for this festival. So there was that was the Genre Blast Film Festival, which is a fantastic festival, and we went over in Winchester, Virginia. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And yes, that's a town that changed hands 73 times in a week during the Civil War.
Just so you know, just a fact.
Eventful week.
That's the clip we're running with for the podcast.
So and that was a brilliant festival. Anyway, I had loads of great filmmakers, great films, and it was fantastic. And then we went.
You won 3 awards.
We won 3. Sorry, we
Mark.
We got nominated for 8 awards. We won 3.
Oh, nice.
Best screenplay, best ensemble, which that was particularly satisfying because of that everyone's worked together for so long.
Yeah.
And best supporting actress for Victoria, whose house it is that we shot in, and is my fiance.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off. So in putting together a feature-length film, I think you've kind of touched on many of the points there, but in terms of like funding and putting resources together to make it happen, how do you go about that, and what kind of advice could you give someone else who's thinking about making that same jump?
Use what you got.
Yeah.
Cool.
Simple as, use who you can get and what you can get and where you can get. I knew that we could get the house, and so I wrote it all around the house. I lived in that house quite a while, so I was like, I know how to make this house seem interesting. And the pub is my local pub over the road, and then there's the river, which we didn't get for free because they wouldn't let us, but we did it anyway. And a church, the big church, St Anne's Church as well, which we paid a little bit for, and they were very generous, and we got just an amazing amount of favours from the crew and the cast and everything. Just really got paid anything. And
Not yet.
No, we were,
We still live in hope. Some of
Yeah.
us.
no, but we were really, really blessed to have an amazing crew, like especially our first AD.
Yeah.
He was
Little
just
Joe.
phenomenal.
Joe Stars.
He looked like a 14-year-old boy, but
turns
he
out he was 20.
he was running a very, very tight ship, and
Because we
he
were working
was
around
just
everyone's
brilliant.
schedules as well, so we couldn't ask everyone to take time off work a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
he would have to go off and do boat exams, and then
I took 10 days off to do this.
you
but
disappeared
one
for
day
2
you,
days.
One day you had to go and
what
you
was that
only
for?
could-
You did a boat exam.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, we had to reschedule. So, and then,
the
you know, and
truth comes out.
a lot of people had like 9-to-5 jobs and stuff, so could only shoot on weekends or whatever. And so Joe, every time like he came up to the schedule, I'd be like, don't think he can do that now and do this now. And it was just constantly rejigging. And Joe was amazing because somehow he managed to squeeze
Yeah.
everything in.
And he was always just on it, very happy,
Yeah.
always a big smile,
Didn't-
always okay, no
didn't
problem.
punch
we'll
anyone.
make that work. We'll make that work.
Best,
Yeah.
easily the best first AD, first assistant director I've ever worked with, because it's
Yeah.
very difficult for these guys to keep the ship afloat and to retain a level of decency in the way they're communicating with everybody. And that was what Joe was able to do. He was able to smash all of the organisation and the call sheets out of the window, and sort them out totally. But then on top of that, being able to herd us cats
And we had
in a way that
Alex
was
as well. Alex
kept,
Mouse-
kept the
Alex
vibe
Mouseful.
up instead of having there's a lot of shouty first ADs out there, a lot of stressed guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, just on
Overworked
short
and-
films and stuff, some of the first ADs you work with,
Yeah,
you're just
and
thinking,
clearly-
who are you and why are you here? It's just,
Yeah, they're kind of out of their comfort zone totally. But Joe was just
It was amazing.
for someone who
yeah.
is essentially a child, he was fantastic.
Yeah, but
He's
see, he
so
always
young.
found a way to have a really good authority.
He was very authoritative.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
like,
in his early 20s, he
brilliant.
was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely fantastic. He was the one who kind of really pulled it
Not
all
difficult
together.
in this industry, though.
It is.
You
Yeah,
yeah, to
'cause
talk
we-
a bit of sense, and everyone's like, talking
yeah.
sense. Oh yeah, I'll listen. Yeah.
Yeah, have you met
Yeah,
all
I'll
of you?
say.
Right, you're talking sense to
No, that's why we
several
need someone like
different personalities who all have different kind of ways of thinking and being and acting and
and they're all a bit immature. Let's
And,
face
yeah,
it.
None of
So,
us are normal.
all large children. So yeah, he was the youngest person was by far the most mature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's young. He'll learn.
So, this Friday, Friday the 23rd of February, Guardians starts its UK tour. So, tell us a bit about the tour, what's happening, what to expect, where's it coming, how can people find out about the tour?
Well, I've got websites. You can find out. That's guardiansfilm.co.uk. It has a list of all our screenings, and obviously Big Picture Film Club's been very good at putting out all that stuff.
Hey.
Yeah, so this Friday is the first screening of our sort of UK cinematic tour. So that's in Brighton, and you can still book tickets. There's a few left. Not many though, which I was quite surprised. I was like, oh god, we're not going to sell any. We sold loads, so it's great. And then we're in Crouch End Picture House
12th.
on March 12th, followed by March the 18th is the Ramsgate International Film Festival. And then what's after
And
that?
then
Newcastle.
Then it's Newcastle International Film Festival at the end of March. And then we are still waiting to confirm dates for Edinburgh and Glasgow and various screenings.
So we're kind of splitting the time doing promoting
Amazing
our
stuff.
own screenings and going to festivals that have accepted the film as well.
These festivals are
which is
really
nice.
getting in the way of my organisation, to be
Yeah,
fair.
How dare!
How did
It's
they love
nice
the
when
film?
it's nice when somebody else says they want it rather than we say,
Yeah.
well, let's put it here.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Ocean City Film Festival in Maryland, that's the next one up, actually. That's March the 9th, but that's in America. So, Americans, if you're listening to this, get yourself to Maryland on March the 9th.
Nice. So, I mean, how have like Americans taken to British?
Yeah, I mean, they've liked it so far, yeah. I mean, everyone has seen it. We've been offered quite a few nice little slots of like a film festival that I went to in San Diego the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, which is a horror film festival, with a short film. They were fantastic, and they were like, "Yeah, I want to see your film." I showed them it, and they were like, "Well, it's not horror, is it? So we can't show it." But they do monthly screenings as well at like an independent cinema, and so they want to show it. It was going to be the end of March, but I had a baby.
Congratulations.
So I
Now,
so I can't really go. Yeah, should have caught that one. So that's hopefully happening later in the year, and then various other screenings later in the year as well that have been offered. Like I say, Basingstoke. We've got another couple of Amazing Stoke. And a couple of other festivals that are coming up that we're not allowed to say yet because they haven't announced it. Apart from the Comedy Cluj Film Festival in Transylvania in October.
Surely we'll be going somewhere in the north other than Newcastle, though, right?
Yeah, that is the plan, but it's because of these festivals we can't really plan for that at the moment. We haven't got the time.
Not yet. I suppose we'll wait to hear if we get one in Liverpool or Manchester, and then if we don't, we'll do a screening in Liverpool or Manchester.
That's true enough.
No, but we kind of have to do one in Manchester, though. Because
my mum's not seen it yet.
Your mum.
And
She's not from Manchester. It turns out.
Near enough.
Yeah, but
she's
very close.
She's from St Helens.
Yeah, but
So
no,
she's
my
closer
mum's
than
from
Liverpool.
Bolton.
Oh, really?
It's fine.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
We're not going to do a screening in Bolton.
Why not? I asked.
I don't know.
Well, maybe we could. I don't think I know enough people in Bolton.
That's alright anyway. The cinema is like 4 seaters.
Oh, the cinema. Cinema's turned into a block of flats now, the old cinema in the town centre. So when I was a lad.
Yeah. Victoria, my fiance, is ringing me. I'm in the middle of an interview, darling. You knew that. You're in the film.
So how have things been since the birth of your child?
Well, he's only 18 days old. So surprisingly good though. He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
He's a little darling. He is. I'm sure that'll change. But so far so good. Yeah, he's been non-intrusive as much as a small life can be.
Great.
He does. He sleeps a lot. He just doesn't really cry so much. And
he came to the pub with us the other day. He was
he
brilliant.
did. Yeah.
Starting them early.
Yeah.
All right. So when the festival run is done, where could we see it on the video on demand platform of some sort?
I mean, well, we haven't signed any deals yet, but we are talking to several people. We've had a few offers, but it's early days really because we want to do a decent festival thing and want to get into a few more cinemas and.
Fingers crossed to proper distribution.
And which probably won't happen because it never does these days.
Well,
but
maybe.
We'll see.
You're taking it to Cannes.
Taking it to Cannes. That's it in
May,
there. So we'll see what happens there. It's just a sad state of distribution at the moment is because it's in the transitional period that none of them seem to know how to. All the old boys don't know how to handle all the new stuff like all the Netflix, all the VOD things, and there's new VODs popping up all the time. So. We're talking to a lot of those, but it's like...
Can you kind of expand on that point of the old boys not sort of understanding...
cinemas don't want tiny independent films that they think...
Is dead.
Yeah, it really is, in cinemas anyway. I mean, it's huge on demand, and that's a good thing, but it's a sad thing that it's almost impossible to get a film into a cinema. That's why we're going to Our Screen, who enable films like us to get into cinemas, and they're fantastic. So look up Our Screen if you've got a feature film out there you want to get into a cinema. It's a very affordable way of doing it. It's just that so getting into cinemas and getting onto DVD was the be all and end all for the last 30 years and 100 years for cinema, and now it's not. Now the money's not there in that, and unless you're James Bond or Marvel or Star Wars. So little boys don't get a look in, and so it's all VOD.
Acting as well. It's not just the films getting made; it's the parts that are available for actors as well. Yeah. You'll see somebody. That's why somebody like Billy Bob Thornton went and did Fargo. He'd been a cinema actor all his life, and like he said, the art house is dead. I don't get the opportunity to play these parts anymore.
Yeah.
So likewise, David Lynch doing the third series of Twin Peaks, him going back to television, has been a...
God.
There's a time and a place, you know.
I know, it's my daughter.
This is.
It's Alethea.
Well,
Hi,
take it
Alethea.
outside
Put on
the room.
speakerphone then. Don't, you know.
Hello.
Don't swear, Alethea.
Are you going to bed?
Night,
Jolly
night.
good.
Cool.
Daddy's still on the radio.
Still.
So, I love you.
We all love you.
We all love you.
Well, here we go. Now you have the beginning of your podcast.
Yeah.
Victoria, do you want to have your interview?
Bye.
Have you gone? All right. Good night, Alethea. Say good night, everybody.
Bye.
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 Okay. Love you. Bye bye. Oh. Good night, my beauty.
It's okay, she hung.
You hang up first.
Hang up the phone.
Don't shout at my
Shut
daughter.
up. Carry on. You were talking about Billy Bob Thornton. That was
It's
ridiculous.
too late now.
That's so unprofessional.
Too late.
She rang me.
It's amazing we made a feature film, isn't it?
I've got a newborn baby, and Sue rang me twice. So you've got to answer. Doesn't matter where you are.
The
You don't have to
newborn
answer it in a
didn't ring
studio.
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Mark,
do.
it was
I
your
have to
oldest-
answer.
right
it was
there.
your oldest child that rang you. Don't say the newborn rang you.
No,
18
the newborn
days
didn't ring
old.
me. I thought
What's
it was
he
the
got
mother.
to say? What's he
Next
got
time,
to
feel
say?
free to
Well.
get out of the room.
He's 18 days old. He's got nothing to say.
Whatever. Anyway.
Oh, that's a
There we go.
So if people want to follow what's happening with Guardians, where can they go? Where can they find you online?
We're on Twitter, which is Guardians BHF, which is Brainhound Films. It's our film company. We're on Facebook, Guardians.
Not the Guardians.
Not the
or-
Guardians,
and not
or-
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just Guardians.
Or the Guardian.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Brainhound Films, and yeah, you can follow us all on Twitter. I'm Mark A.C. Brown. He's Matty Parati,
Quite right.
Zephyrel.
And Chris Spyrides. And that's spelled Spyrides.
He's done it to himself.
Look, it was a, an educated guess.
Oh no, yeah.
We all do it.
It's not like I've not had 42 years of this, don't worry.
Well, guys, thank you very much for coming to the Big Picture Film Club podcast, and we'll be sure to share your stuff, support you all the way, and yeah, if there's anything you need, just let us know.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Been great. Thank you.
Bye.
Great stuff.
That was fun.
Yeah.